This guy was confronting me today at the gym about why I'm doing hip thrusts, because those are, and I quote, exercises for hoes that are trying to get their asses big. It's not the first time that this has happened either. Like, generally there are dudes who have problem with men working glutes. And some of them, I've noticed, even go so far to mock others if they're working legs in general. Not to mention those back extensions. Yeah, one of my gym buddies that I've been training with this guy-ish, well, not particularly training, for about 2 years. I was doing back extensions one day and he comes to me and says, I don't do those ones because I find it to be a weird position when I'm bending over like that. I would say that I'm confused about this, but probably not so much. In fact, I'm starting to see a pattern in my head, and I feel like I generally know who I'm talking about. The type of individual who doesn't work glutes at the gym and probably calls others. I mean, I would call it homophobia, but I don't know the definition of homophobia, and I've never used it, or I never felt the need to understand it because I never came across it. But is there a word for it? Is there a word for such people, men, if you like to call them men? And I narrow it down to a couple of specific type of individuals, like I said. You know the guy that slaps a woman's ass on the street? That type of toxic individual who has probably some sort of sexual frustrations or just frustrations in general. That guy probably doesn't work glutes. You know the type of little boy that catcalls a woman instead of being able to hold a conversation or just ask her something? That dude also probably don't work glutes. In fact, any guy who more or less probably is willing to sexually assault someone has a problem with working glutes. Kevin Hart, he had a stand-up special back when his career was starting out. And he was talking about his uncle who just got out of jail, if you remember that bit.
To film a movie, I wanted to get a little bigger, so I'm letting him train me. Now, reason why, my uncle had that jail body. Up top, solid, not a gang. Rock hard. Didn't work on his legs that much. So sometimes you can see him struggling to keep the top half up, just like legs.
And he said that his uncle was top heavy, like strong, but he never worked legs. Because apparently in jail, real men don't work legs. Because think about it. It's completely normal and even encouraged for a woman to work glutes. Why? Because society appreciates and likes a beautiful female's body. And generally, men openly admire it. Openly admire it. But when a man puts the same effort into building his lower body, suddenly people start questioning his masculinity. He's called gay, he's laughed at. And by people, I mean generally these individuals who are not called men. They're anything else except men. Oh boy. Isn't it strange that the same exact exercise is seen as attractive on one person but suspicious on the other? That says a lot about our culture than it says about a guy doing squats. I wonder what these dudes who have a problem with working glutes have to say about Korean K-pop group men. Because those guys, while they look super hot, they tend to wear a lot of makeup. Matter of fact, I wonder what these dudes think about Captain America's ass. Here's the funny part. Like, nobody thinks twice when a guy spends 45 minutes training chest so his pecs look bigger. Apparently that's masculine. But do 3 sets of Bulgarian split squats and suddenly you've crossed some invisible line. The irony is that your glutes are not just to fill out your jeans, which is super if they do. They're the biggest, one of the biggest, strongest muscle in your body. They help you sprint, jump, lift, protect your knees. Like, that's so important, especially if you're like over 30, and makes your hips so much stiffer and healthier. Again, so much healthier if you are over 30, 40. Even protects lower back pain, especially those back extensions that I was talking about earlier. In other words, they're not just for aesthetics, they're literally built for performance. Although, yes, there are a lot of women out there who don't really care about the performance, probably even men. It's about more sometimes the aesthetics, definitely. But I guess we all appreciate it. If you are one of those guys and you're probably watching this video-ish, ask yourself, like, why does that bother you? And is the glutes the problem? Because I don't think the glutes or the exercise itself is the issue. The way we judge other people's bodies often says much more about us than it does about them. Insecurity, man, insecurity, because insecurity always looks for someone else to prove that whatever it is, it's normal. Unrelated to the video, but this just might be the best bang for the buck ice cream that I had this summer. Yellow melon ice cream, delicious, and it doesn't break the bank. Also kind of cool that it says happy on the box. Yeah.